This is episode 41 of the Organizations Win Championships podcast, an Audacy podcast. I'm Dan Bernstein, along with Jason Bernstein and James Jackson, our producer. Boy, do we have a lot today.
After your little talk with the higher ups, I think we have plenty of content for the first time in quite a bit, I'd say. It feels good. Season's getting closer, and I mean, now we can only look forward to the Bulls because the Bears suck so much.
Yeah.
So
baseball season's over. Yep, and it was media day today at the Advocate Center, so things are starting to feel
okay. Can I just say something real quick about media day? Did you see Jimmy Butler?
Oh my God! What is he doing? I know he's committed to the bit.
I think he said it's his Halloween. I think he's making it a thing where every media day he just does some outlandish crap.
I guess. Did you see Bam Adebayo couldn't keep?
It was so funny. People are saying the Dame trade fell through and Jimmy turned emo and he has no point, and he thinks he has no point in life after that all fell through.
I don't know. I didn't know what to make of it, but hey, if that's a media day thing, fine. If he wants to do a bit, that's cool. But you mentioned that last Wednesday, Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley joined us, the Bernstein and Holmes show, on The Score with Layla Rahimi in our Blue Cross Blue Shield performance stage. And they sat down in front of a live audience and answered a bunch of questions. And there was nothing predetermined. They didn't say anything was necessarily off limits. So we got to know them a little bit, and we talked a lot about their individual histories in the game. And people don't realize that AK's got an incredible story.
Good player.
He was not only a good player, he was the first player from the then Soviet Union to enroll at a U.S. college.
That's
a huge
big thing.
Yes. Yeah. He's like Lithuanian basketball royalty on that great 92 team. And, Mark Eversley told his story about being born in England and growing up in Canada and his relationship to the game. So I want to start with, because this is important to me. And I think for listeners of this podcast who know why we call it Organizations Win Championships, we mentioned it at the outset in our debut. It's just sort of a wink to the famous Jerry Krause line, where it was widely taken out of context for years and used as motivation that somehow Jerry Krause didn't appreciate the players enough, when of course I believe that he did. And he just knew that it took a lot to win titles across the board in an organization, from ownership on all the way down to the last guy on the roster. So I wanted to hear from each of these guys running the Bulls what it means for them to walk by the trophies every day in their offices and to understand what the goal is. Here's what AK said.
We make adjustment, we adapt, adjust, go to the next year. And I think coming to that building and seeing those 6 championships, I think it's some type of expectations and pressure. At the same time, we asking this group right now that is in Advocate Center is like, look, we have an opportunity now to build our own legacy and shape our future, and that's what everyone in that building thinking. It's all about winning. I think that's
that's a good quote. I think that's a good answer to that kind of question. And from a fan's perspective, we always say, well, they should be doing this, they should be doing that, yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, they are doing a way better job than we would ever be doing at this. I can play 2K, my league, with my best friend all I want and make as many trades for as many first round picks as I want, but it's never going to be, I would even say, not even close to realistic.
Well, of course not.
Right. In terms of what the job actually is. And so I think when they talk about winning culture, I feel like we have to agree with them in what they're saying. And obviously that's what they're trying to do, but still,
I'll tell you what they can't say. What they can't say is, if they can't say, in this league, you only win a championship if you have one of the 3 best players in the league. And That's it. Unless you have the guy, you're not winning a title. So
And
you
now
have
the
to be
Bucks have
flexible.
two.
Well,
The
they've
Bucks
got one. If you look at some of the age projections on Lillard, I don't know how long he's
He
going to
can
be able to
shoot the
sustain
crap
what
out
he
of the
does.
ball, though.
I know.
They're so well constructed, and Middleton and Lopez is underrated, and they are really good.
Yeah, they're good. But
Although I will say Blazers did a great job with that. I
But
think
you-
they got, and then the Holiday thing, they got a ton for Holiday.
point being, you got to have the guy.
Yeah, sorry.
You got to have the guy. And you don't know how you can get the guy. If you're going to get a disgruntled star who's going to demand a trade, it's maintaining that kind of flexibility. And they don't have the guy right now. They've got some pretty good players, but they don't have that guy. So same question to the general manager, Mark Eversley. What is that goal of winning a championship? How does that affect you, and how top of mind is it?
I think when you walk in the door and you see the 6 championships and you see all the banners and you see the retired jerseys in the Advocate Center, that's what fuels us, right? We want to be part of something like that. We want to build something like that. We want to create memories for you guys. That's what fuels us every single night. Like, I woke up 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night last night and just thought about, like, what if we approach something this way? What if we approached it this way? What if we, used our players in a different way? Like, might we sit and talk with Billy today or this afternoon or whatever it might be? How do we improve our scouting? How do we improve our evaluation of prospects? Those are the things that fuel us every single day.
I think that's as long as you see those trophies and know what the goal is, then half our work is done here. Just to make sure that it's always understanding. Yeah, you can win 42 games, you can make the play-in, you can win the mid-season tournament, NBA Cup, and that we did talk a little bit about that, how that adds another goal and another trophy for them. But I think it's important that our sports teams in big cities are on the record stating that they know that they're not here just to make money, to fill the stadium, that we can trust that the goal is having that parade.
Yeah, and then that goes back to the name of our podcast.
Yep.
And organizations win championships. I think that's objectively true. If Jordan wanted to use that as motivation to win the Bulls a championship, good for him.
Whatever it takes.
God, I'm sorry. I know he's basketball Mount Rushmore, just royalty, one of the greatest players of all time. I'm really going on the media about this now. Now I'm going to get some.
What's your point?
I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm not gonna say more than this.
What? That he's a loon?
No, LeBron is the GOAT. That's where I was going.
Yeah,
but
that's
how I feel. However, I know there are going to be idiots coming after me, but I think that's just so corny to use that as motivation to try to win a championship. Saying that God,
there was more than it was much more trivial stuff than that.
And I think
so. How are they going to get there? Is the question. What are they going to do to make it more likely that they're a better basketball team? And we spent how many times looking at box scores
and 3-point shooting and rim protection. And playing faster. I think they talked about that a little bit.
And decrying this lack of threes. And AK even said it to us. He said, by their math, the difference in 3-point field goals attempted and made was so stark that they were basically starting games down 8.5 points at times. That was the difference, with 3 being more than 2. And it sounds so simple to understand that 3 is more than 2. And every year we would sit here, we've done this is 41 podcasts we've done.
Yeah.
And how many times have we said, God, do they realize they realize 3 is more than 2? As you're going to hear from Arturas Karnisovas, the answer obviously is yes, they get that.
So it's a good topic for us to kind of expand as well. So we obviously have to address our shooting profile, right? So we were, lowest 3-point rate, lowest 3-point made last year. And we trying to, to change the shooting profile and then play a little faster, move the ball better. But playing a little faster is going to create more 3-point attempts, because a lot of 3-point attempts created in our league or on a fast break, because those are open threes, and that's what we all, and obviously corner threes are most valuable shots in the league. So
he knows it. And when I talked a little bit off the air with them about X's and O stuff, when they talk about getting into the paint, it's also entering the ball into the paint and trying to run some stuff through Vooch and trying to.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, they're going to.
He's big. He can see the floor. He's not Jokic, nowhere near it, but he's an above average facilitator. As I don't want to say a 5 because basketball is more positionless, but he's an undervalued passer as a big man, and I hope the Bulls value that too.
They do. He's a willing passer. Yes.
Yeah, I will also say I think the Bulls did an okay job this offseason of addressing 3-point shooting. Javon Carter shot 41% last year from 3. Torrey Craig I think he had a pretty good year last year beyond the arc. And if you're looking at guys that are off the roster now, such as Derrick Jones Jr., I mean, he'd make one if he was wide open. But Torrey Craig's a better shooter than Derrick Jones Jr. Not quite the athlete, but I think he fits what they need more in a wing or a forward. And I like Javon Carter. Maybe Kobe White will take a step up, or maybe Patrick Williams will shoot more of them. And last, but certainly not least, probably the most crucial, and I think we'll get to this, DeMar needs to take more of them. And he can say all he wants. Yes, he's one of the greatest mid-range shooters of all time, and probably one of the best NBA scorers there's ever been. He's up there when it just comes to individual scoring. He can do that. It's just he needs to do it in a fashion that plays to not only what the Bulls need to do, but what everybody in the league is doing. Because
so I asked Mark Eversley about it directly. I said exactly what you said and asked him, how do they optimize DeMar?
I think you said it. I mean, ultimately, it's about winning. And I think whether DeMar has to adjust his game a tiny bit or a lot, I mean, at the end of the day, we all want to win. And I think if we win, he'll be happy. His teammates will be happy. Fans will be happy. We'll be happy. Might he have to adjust his game a little bit, shoot more threes? Perhaps. He's one of the best mid-range. He's got one of the best mid-range games in the whole league.
Ever.
And, it's a relationship with Billy and he that they will figure out. And that'll happen through conversations. It'll happen through Nashville next week. And as we go through the preseason and early on into the season, you said it. He's a smart guy. He's a really, really smart guy. I think you said it. I mean, ultimately, it's about winning. And I think whether DeMar has to adjust his game a tiny bit or a lot, I mean, at the end of the day, we all want to win. And I think if we win, he'll be happy.
This is looping.
Yep. That is great to hear. It's great to hear from somebody in charge. He may have to adjust his game a little bit.
I don't think it's a may. The fact that he's even saying that he might have to and mentions whether it's a little bit or a lot, he's saying without saying it, we're going to do our best to make sure DeMar takes a few more threes. It's not one of his biggest strengths. In fact, it's probably one of the weaker points of his game when it's just not just the volume of 3-point shots, but even the ability. It seems like whenever
he's not great at it. Right.
It seems whenever he steps on the line, he's immediately better. It's like a 2K A+ rating for mid range, and then D- for 3. Not D-, probably a C for threes. And I just think that he doesn't have to take as many as Zach takes. I want Zach.
No.
I'm okay with Zach shooting 12 threes a game. If DeMar shoots 3 threes per game and makes one of them, I would prefer if he shot maybe 5.
Well,
attempted 5, and he made 1 to 2 of those per game. I think is reasonable shot. 34%.
That
over
is
the year over a higher volume.
Right.
I think that could be. That could help them so much. And even just with floor spacing and other people getting open, and say he makes a couple, people have to step in. Maybe they start double teaming out there, and then somebody else opens up. I think if DeMar just changes, I guess we shouldn't say a lot. He shouldn't change his whole game because he's old. He shouldn't reinvent himself completely. But if he can just adjust a little bit to the 2023, 2024 NBA, I think it can. Is it going to make them win a championship this season? I highly, 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 highly doubt it. But I think it's progress if he attempts more and shoots an okay percentage for somebody who is not a great 3-point shooter.
Something else that Karnisovas brought up was the idea of him being more of a facilitator too. So I don't think the adaptation to his game is just about 3-point shooting. He mentioned that he was a primary facilitator for the Spurs. So we look at the season that he had there under Pop. We also look at the 2018 season that he had. We did in Toronto when he shot like four threes a night. So
one of his best statistical seasons ever, right?
So I think finding a little bit around both of those things could make an enormous difference. I want to play one more cut before we take a look
at just going to say one thing real quick. Is that all right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm talking a lot this episode, but you also were the one that got to talk to them. So I want to comment on it. When I think of DeMar as a facilitator or him growing as a facilitator, I just think of Patrick Williams because I feel like so many times Patrick was open, whether he was cutting to the basket, which he probably wasn't because he loved that short corner. But I feel like Patrick's guy was always the one that would double DeMar because they knew he wasn't going to pass it to him. So I think that they might be hinting at Patrick having a bigger role with DeMar as a facilitator.
Has to. Maybe actually some screen roll actions wouldn't necessarily be that bad an idea either. Mark Eversley said one more thing that really piqued my interest. When he talked about how, and I asked him, we were trying to figure out why they went to Nashville. Why right now they're having training camp in Nashville. And he mentioned to us, and this was unsolicited, he mentioned to us that a consistent theme that they heard in their exit interviews from players was that they felt disconnected last year, that they didn't necessarily feel like a tight-knit team. So I pressed a little bit further about what Eversley meant by that and how they interpreted it.
It's almost like you just show up and you go to work, you go home, you show up the next day and you come to work. And they love to play, and our coaches love to coach, and we were a team, but they didn't feel like they were really, really, really a team. And that is something that was important to us in the offseason to address, and we're addressing it from day one when we get to Nashville. And it's all.
I like the fact that they're aware of it, that they listened, and frankly, there were times when it seemed like that on the court, when we always would point out turn taking, or a reversion from ball movement to hero ball, to defaulting to isolation ball. And I don't know, maybe some of that's directly responsible for it. Maybe it's not, but the fact that they would at least consider the possibility of being more aware of it and talking about that and making that a coaching point can't hurt, could help.
People can say anything they want about talent, and that's true. You said it earlier. You need the guy to win a championship, and there are a lot of teams that have done it already, and there are a lot of teams that are on the brink of it who already have the guy, and they just haven't gotten there yet. First team that comes to mind for me in that case would be the Mavericks and Luka Doncic, and they now have a point guard that is, kind of not our favorite publicly, but objectively he's a very good basketball player in Kyrie Irving. But I think there is something to say about team chemistry and making sure everybody gets along, because you don't have to be best friends off the court all the time. I would say it's more so about on court and just time. When you spend time together, when you have a job to do on the court and spend time together, I think that people need to be in sync and on the same wavelength. I think the lack of team chemistry can result in not only locker room fights like we saw during that Minnesota game last year, but it also results in turnovers and just bad basketball. So I understand the motivation behind doing it, and it kind of seemed like it was out of the blue, but now that they were able to shed some light on it, I think it seems like they did it for the right reasons.
The roster is out. The 2023 Chicago Bulls preseason roster has been officially released by the team. I've got 21 names on here, and I thought real quick we would just run them down to make sure we were reading this into the record right now to know who is at this camp in Nashville.
And not Javonte Green.
No,
and I'm sad. I don't know.
There's no
What
Javonte
going on with him. My jersey is going to look so cool. I have it here on campus with me. I think at some point, not this weekend, because I'm coming home for the weekend for the first time since August, which I'm kind of excited for. Although I'm going to miss the weekend environment here, but maybe this. Well, I'll just say Super Saturday. I won't say DARTY, but I might pull the Javonte Green jersey out of the closet for the first time. So I don't know where he is. I don't
know. You have to follow him somewhere. I have to make a pilgrimage to Greece or wherever he goes to play.
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball's on the roster, but we know that's just for bookkeeping purposes. But technically, he is a rostered player on the Bulls. There's Onur Alp-Bitim, the Turkish forward,
man.
6'6", 205. He'll wear number 17. Javon Carter, Alex Caruso, Torrey Craig, DeMar DeRozan, Ayo Dosunmu, and wearing number 77, your guy, Henry Drell.
That number 77 is not promising.
Nope.
Except for Luka, but I really like him. I think he's got something there that I think he's not the most athletic, but he does have traits. He's not a terrible athlete, though. It's not like it's a weakness.
Right.
His left hand he's a decent facilitator, and his left hand is really good.
He's only 215 pounds, though. And
yeah,
the one
he
thing
needs to gain, I would say, at least 15.
Minimum.
Yeah.
The functional strength of just being able to hold your position, not get pushed around. A guy who
like
does
Patrick
not...
Williams, I want to see Patrick Williams on him in training camp. Patrick could lean his shoulder into him. He would go flying.
Yep.
I mean, but I want to see Patrick do that as well. I want to see him have the motivation to be like, get the hell out of my way. God, angry.
That's all we need.
Angry Pats.
Finish.
You gotta get mean. You gotta get angry.
One guy who does not need to gain weight is Andre Drummond, who's listed at 6'11", 289. That's probably junior high. Guard Max Heidegger out of UC Santa Barbara.
Thanks for the name. Okay,
Max
got
Heidegger.
it. Never going to forget that.
Damn it, I shouldn't have said anything. Guard Quentin Jackson from Texas A&M. Carleek Jones.
All right, he's got another shot.
Yeah, we'll see. Zach LaVine. Yeah. Justin Lewis gets another shot.
I like him. I kind of like him.
Julian Phillips, the rookie from Tennessee, who's probably going to take the Derrick Jones Jr. spot. And defender, Adama Sanogo.
Ugh.
Why?
Great. Okay, he's better than Kofi Coburn, but great college player. Wasn't he the tournament's most outstanding player this year?
At Connecticut, yeah.
But he is not, and I don't think he's close to an NBA player. Just game wise, athleticism wise, great college player. But he'll be an overseas guy. He might be too slow to play in the G League because that league is fast. We went to that game. It's just up and down, running threes, transition steals. That's what it is.
Not going to work here anymore. 6'5" Terry Taylor is listed as a forward, an undersized forward.
Javonte Green replacement.
230 maybe. Dalen Terry, Nikola Vucevic, Kobe White, and Patrick Williams. That rounds out your Chicago Bulls training camp roster. All right. Okay.
Fine. Okay. I mean, we'll see what happens. I feel like it won't be 2021, but I think it'll be a little bit better than last year. I think we came into the season with some expectation to perform just because of the first half of the first season with the quote unquote core. I think they came into last season with some expectations to perform, and they really didn't do a great job of that. So I think if they win a few more games than last season, and maybe instead of the 10 seed, they're the 7 seed or 8 seed. Oh God.
Yeah, start looking at that East right now. It's
it is a tall order, man. Have fun with. Okay, so all right, yeah, let's look at that for a second. Milwaukee and Boston, I think, are the top 2 teams without question.
Yep.
I think my pick for MVP this year is Jason Tatum. I think everything's just lining up for that. Either Tatum or Luka. I would say one of those 2 guys. Philly. Miami made the finals last year, so they're up there. So that's already 1, 2, 3, 4 teams, right? Then you got Cleveland, they're better than the Bulls easily. I'm not yet, but I'm going to be concerned about Detroit in about a year, because what they're doing, Monty Williams. So, yeah.
Not yet, though. I don't think Detroit's quite armed itself yet. Cleveland is also formidable. That front line remains a group that if it really starts to feel it, and they got their point guard back, so this is Cleveland's considerably better. This is there's a hill to climb here, and I know how much you like Brooklyn. The Knicks. I mean, Brunson's not getting any worse.
Oh, I should have said the Knicks. Knicks are good.
Mm-hmm.
Nets are meh.
You like him though. Good. You like him.
I like him, but I don't. They're not ready to compete. I think the Nets and Bulls are at a similar position. Nets are probably slightly better just because they're younger, but I think they're similar when it comes to just end of season result. I think they're on par with each other.
This has brought us to the OWC College Showdown. And it has music, if I remember correctly. And this is when...
Oh, God.
Went to college. I don't claim that, but I do claim to remember where some guys did. So Jason digs back in the archives of vintage NBA players to quiz me. I'm going to start you out,
okay,
Mr. Man, with Orlando guard Anthony Black.
Oh, he was first round. He was like the 6th overall pick, Arkansas. He's not a summer league guy.
I didn't say he was.
Good player.
How about Pelicans forward Najee Marshall?
Damn it.
He did not go to damn it.
I feel like you gave me this at one point and I forgot.
Well, then that's doubly bad.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking like two schools. I'm either thinking Auburn or Colorado State, and I'll say Colorado State.
They're both wrong. Xavier.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yes,
wrong. And wow. All right.
And lastly, Oklahoma City forward and rock and roller Jack White.
Oh, Duke, right?
Yes.
Okay. We had a thing about him. We saw him. We go. That guy's a white BWP.
Yes. Yeah.
We looked at his last name and just says White.
Yes. That is an acronym if there ever was one. Who are you? I'm a Duke White. Yep. Yes, you are, sir.
I thought you were going to say because Mike Muscala was on the Thunder last year. He's on the Wizards
I'm not going
to
give you. I'm not going to give you.
Yeah, that would be too easy.
Meanwhile, did he just go into the Bucknell Sports Hall of Fame?
Yes, like this year.
Why?
I don't know.
How could he have not been in the Bucknell Sports
He's by a mile the best basketball player to ever come out of this school, and a good NBA player.
Yeah, but like, what kind of oversight was that? Like, maybe we should look at this Muscala guy's candidacy again. Like,
who the entire campus has stories about him working his butt off all the time when everyone else was probably just at Super. He was in the he was. I've seen plenty of basketball players at Super, man. They're.
I think Mom is still there.
Huh?
I think Mom is still at Super.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she had fun last week.
I think she's doing. No,
I think she almost needed to go to a college function again.
It was fun.
Yeah, well, but she actually enjoyed it. You didn't really do anything to enjoy it. She was excited to be in college again for a couple hours. No, that was fun. Too bad the weather was crappy, but
that was fine. All right.
And too bad I woke up at 7:15 in the morning yesterday after going to bed at 2:30 just to get my game canceled in Millersville.
Yeah, I mentioned it to Kevin Lapka here. He said that's the most club. He said that's the most club baseball thing I've ever heard. You drive 2 hours and the ump doesn't show up. Damn it! All right, give me my guys.
All right, here we go. Let me pull them up. First, we have former Bucks wing Ricky Pierce.
You've done this before.
I have. I checked my list. I don't think he was there.
I think he went to Rice.
He did go to Rice. Did I do this before?
I think maybe like the second episode is the only reason but I remembered it.
Let me see.
You can't
I just want to
Pierce.
See if I did it.
You can't spell Pierce without the letters in Rice. That's how I remembered it.
Oh, I did it this fifth or sixth episode, so probably near. Wow, so that was nearly a year ago if you think about it.
Yep. All right, I got it.
Next, we have former Nuggets forward Reggie Williams.
Georgetown.
Damn. Okay. And last but not least, we have former Lakers guard and winning time fan. I don't know if he was a fan favorite or whatever. Stormin' Norm Nixon.
Oh shoot, Norm Nixon's college.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be Kurt Rambis, and I don't know that I know that either.
No, not too underground.
That's
a little too.
Norm
dumb. Wasn't Landsberg the guy that Terry said was dumber than a horse?
Yep. That's what he said because he covered horse racing and the NBA, and he said Mark Landsberger was not as smart as some of the horses he covered. Just passing it along. Norm Nixon. He went to. He played at Arizona.
No, he did not. He went to an A10 school or a current A10 school.
Temple?
No.
St. Bonaventure?
No, I think is Temple in A10? I thought they were. No, but I'll just say that was 4.
Ow.
I'll say this. I don't think you'll get it, but it was LeBron's middle child, Bryce James's first college offer that I think he might have even got before Bronny got an offer. I don't know if that's true or not.
Idea.
He got Duquesne.
Oh, I've called games from their gym because that's where the Pittsburgh Piranhas played in the CBA.
I don't know too much about him, but I just remember when they were playing Loyola Chicago last season, there was a DoorDash delivery guy that just walked onto the court with a bag of McDonald's.
Yes, that was the Duquesne game.
Yeah.
Right. Very good. All right. Well, that's going to do it for episode 41 of Organizations Win Championships.
Boy, here we go.
Like it, subscribe to it, download it, rate it, review it, and for an extra special treat, while listening to it, place the phone in the front of your pants. It's just it's a multi.
I thought you were going to say inside the back.
It's a multi-sensory. Well, I'm not doing however you want to live. It makes it makes it a multi-sensory experience that is unparalleled. So we've got training camp.
8D audio.
We're gonna have some actual basketball action coming, some preseason stuff. So it's gonna start to get a whole lot of fun as we get closer to games. What?
I'm going to do my best to keep up with it. I'm going to watch a game. Oh, weekdays, I'll just say, are going to be a lot easier than weekends. So
just
I'll figure
good notes then, so you remember.
Right. I'll set reminders on my phone, and if I need to watch the YouTube recap, which I will assume is the case for every Friday and Saturday game, I'll have to do that. So
get your damn homework done.
my whole